Hi everyone, welcome back to day 8 of Vlogmas. My name's Annette and this is Cottoverdi, and it's finally stopped raining and I can plant some bulbs. I have been waiting so long to get my bulbs in the ground, I can't tell you. It's either been completely rock hard and frozen solid because we've had some negative degrees here recently, or it has been pouring with rain and there's nothing I can do. So I'm going to spend the whole day planting bulbs today. I've got some very exciting bulbs to plant and I'm going to go through them with you and just describe why I'm planting those particular bulbs and what I'm hoping to achieve. And that's the video for today. So if you're interested in which tulips and daffodils I'm planting, then stick around. So this is the dahlia bed behind me here. It doesn't have dahlias in it at the moment. We've dug them all up and actually it's no longer really the dahlia bed. But the reason we call it that is because it's easy to identify it as a dahlia bed, because that's where for 2 years we planted just dahlias. But that's not what it is now. We have shrubs and other things in there and lots of perennial plants. And so I'm going to be planting some gorgeous tulips in this particular bed here that I hope are going to create a wonderful display for me, or for us. Not just me, for us in the spring. And then in the rest of the garden, so this bed over here and this one here, and in fact under the trees at the bottom here, I'm going to be planting some species tulips. The reason I want to plant species tulips is because they reliably come back every single year and you don't have to replant them. And that's what I want to lessen my load of bulb planting each year. And of course the other thing I'm going to be planting all over the garden are some lovely daffodils, and I think I've got 4 or 5 different types of daffodils which I will go through with you. And the reason I want to plant loads of daffodils is firstly because they bloom so early in the spring and it's wonderful to have those little pops of white and yellow, but also because they reliably come back every single year, and also they will multiply. So you plant one bulb and in a few years time you'll have a lovely clump of daffodils. So I'm not going to do anything special when I'm planting the bulbs today. If I'm planting them in pots, I tend to feed them with a bulb starter, but if I'm planting them in the beds are full of nutrients already, and we're going to mulch later on in December. We will definitely be mulching all the beds, so there'll be lots of goodness added and lots of protection. So I'm just going to get planting. In this bed, I'm planting 3 tulips and I'm mixing them all up together, and I'm planting them in like little swathes or patches. So each patch is going to be a combination of these 3 tulips. The first one is called Menton, and I absolutely love this tulip. I have to have this tulip every year. It's so big. The colour is just indescribably gorgeous, but it's got this really, really large flower that's just such a beautiful tulip shape, and they're really tall. The only thing about Menton is that they will flower late. They'll flower in about, May, mid-May maybe, so they'll be one of the last to flower, but they are totally worth waiting for. Now, the details for Menton say that they grow to about 65 centimetres. I have definitely had Menton that are taller than that. And in with the Menton, I'm also planting a tulip called Blushing Lady. And again, I really like the shape of this tulip. It's slightly different, it's kind of fluted. And this one is also another tall tulip. It's going to grow to about 75 centimetres. Blushing Lady is called a single late tulip, and it's going to flower sort of end of April, beginning of May, and it's just this gorgeous combination of pastel-y, pinky yellows. In amongst the Menton and the Blushing Lady, I'm planting Black Hero. Black Hero is a very popular dark coloured tulip. It's not quite as tall, maybe 60 centimetres, and it again is a late flowering tulip, but it's a double. So it's going to flower between April and May, sort of end of April, beginning of May, and it is just this stunning combination of dark maroon and mahogany and almost a midnight black. Really, really beautiful tulip, and I really think these 3 together are going to look incredible, and I can't wait. Underneath the rose arch, I'm planting a gorgeous species tulip. The benefit of species tulips is that they're going to reliably return every single year. So year after year, you'll get flowers, and also they will multiply. So you're going to get more flowers. The tulip that I'm planting underneath the rose arch is called Turkis danica. A lot of species tulips do originate from Turkey, so I'm not surprised that this one is called Turkis danica. It's going to grow to about 20 centimeters tall, so as I said, most of them are dwarf, and it will bloom in March. And it is this gorgeous creamy white flower with yellow bases inside the flower. And the best thing about Turkis danica is that it can produce up to 7 flowers on each stem, and so I'm really excited about having this gorgeous display underneath the rose arch. The other species tulip that I'm planting today is called Volacea Black Base. And this one's going to grow to 15 centimeters tall and will bloom in March or April. It's definitely one of the shorter, smaller tulips, but it is this stunning magenta colour with really unusual eye-catching black centres at the base of the petals. And I'm planting most of the species tulips around the fruit trees at the bottom of the garden. The other bulbs I'm planting today are daffodils or narcissi. And I'm planting all of these along the bottom bed and also underneath all the trees, so underneath the fruit trees and underneath the conifers and silver birch. And I'm really excited. I am mixing these up. Where they're in the main bed, I'm going to mix them all up and scatter some of each in each spot. But underneath each of the trees, I'll keep just one variety there because I think it'll just look a bit better. And where I'm scattering them in the big bed, I'm making sure that I'm scattering them close to shrubs that are already planted. I don't really want to put them all over the bed because then when I want to put some more perennials or shrubs in this flower bed or plant my dahlias, I'll probably come across bulbs, or the bulbs foliage will be in the way. So I'm trying to make sure that I'm planting them around current plants. I'm planting a combination of 4 daffodils in the big bed. The first one is called Cheerfulness. It will flower in April or May, and it's about 35 centimeters tall. And it's a really sturdy, excellent daffodil, especially if you want to use it for cut flowers. It's wonderfully fragrant, and it's got an award of Garden Merit from the RHS. Cheerfulness is a beautiful pure white daffodil. It's a double, and the centres are this sort of puffy yellow with creamy white. I'm also planting White Marvel, which is again another 35 centimetre tall daffodil, and it flowers April to May. White Marvel is special because it's going to have several double white scented flowers on each stem. Another daffodil I'm planting today is one of my favourites. It's called Ice Follies. I absolutely love this daffodil. It's just so perfect to me. It'll grow to 40 centimetres tall and flowers from March to April, and it is super prolific. And it's this gorgeous creamy white flower with an open crown, and the crown starts off very sort of pale, mid-pale yellow, and then it quickly fades to white, and then you end up with this sort of white on white. Another daffodil I'm planting today is called Obdam. It's a really weird name, but this one also grows to 40 centimetres tall and will flower March to April, and it is this gorgeous, beautiful, pure white daffodil. And then under some of the trees, I'm also planting a daffodil called Sundisk. Sundisk is a dwarf daffodil. It only grows to 20 centimetres tall. Again, it'll flower April to May. Sundisk is this tiny miniature flower. They're kind of soft yellow with a golden cup, and it's got a gorgeous sweet fragrance. I really hope you've enjoyed watching this video today and found it interesting to find out which bulbs we've chosen to plant and where we've chosen to plant them. Maybe it's inspired you to grab a few bargains in the late sales and plant a few more tulips and daffodils. I really hope you've enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.